What is going on, guys? This is Logan with West Desert Wheeler. This isn't Logan from West Desert. This is Logan from West Desert Wheeler. This is Sydney. This is the dog. This is a dog. So, sometimes good dog, sometimes just a dog. Today she's being a good dog. Anyway, look out. Back to the crawler things. Today we have got the super shafty Chupacapra cage, Vanquish axles, Element stealth transmission, shift servos, RC four-wheel drive wheels and tires, Trial brass knuckles up front, Hobbywing fusion power system, direct power shift servo in the rear, BEC powered front servo and the GT3 up front. And anyway, all that to say, I don't know how today's gonna go for us, guys. We've got an obstacle that I've been trying to drive up since July. Currently, still unconquered by anyone that I know, although I don't know many people trying it. I've had a few of my friends get on there and try it, but I really want to get this done. And this is not the obstacle. I've driven this before. Typically I use dig to get through here, but with the Element Stealth, I don't have dig. So unfortunately, just gonna take a reverse here. And we just gotta get our front end planted on that wall. There we go, start getting it to climb. And then the rear can be a little tricky because the rear is going to want to force the front end to do weird stuff. So you got to feather the rear steering, pressure things in different ways, turn in weird ways. You know, just lots of experience of how the rear steer works and how to force your suspension to work in different ways when it's under a bind like that. But ultimately, getting up and over, oh no, oh no, oh no, we lost the front end. Well, that's not good. Ultimately, almost getting through this crack. Bring the front end up and across, and then we'll just bring the rear across that gap. And off to our real obstacle for the video. All right, guys, here we go. Now we're on the entrance into the obstacle that I have been unable to conquer since July. I found it when I first put this car together, and this was the first car that I tried to drive through the canyon. I've yet to do it successfully, but recently I found a different approach to it that may make the difference of getting through there. We're going to talk about that when we get to that point. But right now, just want to get up to the obstacle itself. If possible, see if these tires are going to pull us over this ledge. We're going to need all the help we can get today. Car's running nice and quiet and smooth. All right, that was a weird way to get across that, but it did it. Here we go. Which, by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, I've got some fancy, shiny, oil leak-free DravTech shocks, and I've got to send a shout out to my buddy Luke over at Scumbag RC. You know, he's not always a scumbag. Sometimes he's pretty damn awesome and very giving to the RC community. And he helped hook me up with some DravTechs for this car because my old axial shocks were driving him crazy, and he wanted to see this thing on some DravTechs. So he made it happen, you know. Good for Luke. Thank you very much, dude. I greatly appreciate that. And looking forward to pushing these things hard and doing weird stuff with them. No, didn't get what I wanted there. So this is the obstacle. We got our front end working into it. It's this long crack, and it's not easy. Even just the entrance is not easy. Then we got to go through a crazy steep drop, which we're going to check out, which that is not a give me. So, you know, sometimes we make it, sometimes we don't. Sometimes it's a total fail, and we got to take a reset. So, playing the ground rules, I want to get a clean run from right here, up the crack, down, through the T in the crack, which we're going to see in a minute, and then out the end. I want to get a clean run of that. So that's today's goal. And like I say, I've got a new approach to it. We're going to see if we can make our tires stick where we want them to stick, slip where we want them to slip, and all together make it out the other end. So here in Sand Hollow, for the real buggies, they've got a trail rating system, and even Jeeps and whatnot. Oh boy. And the trail rating goes 0 to 10 for Jeeps, And 10 really being like, okay, it's time to get in a buggy because you're gonna incur damage and the trail's just that wild that, you know, you need a buggy to do it. Well, for the buggy guys, what do? Once it gets beyond a 10, there's actually 10 to 15 rating. Yeah, we're already in real trouble here. So like I say, 10 to 15 rating. So a 15 rated trail is a trail that you cannot get through without assistance. Anytime someone drives that trail for the first time unassisted, it automatically becomes a 14. So all that to say, this obstacle in the RC world for me and my buggy would be rated a 15. So today I'm hoping to knock it down to a 14, and then depending on how many other people can follow up and complete the trail, it will eventually get knocked down to a 13. Now some 13s stay that way forever, and then as things get more capable and new cars come out, they'd get turned into 12s. We have to take a reset. Okay, we're at our reset point. I try and take the same approach in every time just because it seems to work the most consistently for me. And that is to drive up into the crack and then transfer the front end across. But I missed it on that one because I'm not sitting behind the car like I normally am. Just working this thing, trying to get it up into the obstacle. The rear saved us right there. That's actually what did it. That front end was gonna let go, but the rear started climbing and forced the car back onto the crack. Okay, got it from the front angle. Like I say, I've stacked one rock in here and it does almost nothing. It just fills a giant hole that otherwise the car would fall into. And it's really not that beneficial other than there's not a huge chasm at the bottom that your car falls completely into. So I still don't have like a perfect line for making it through here. Yeah, that might be pretty good right there. If the front tire will hold, it's holding. Rear tire's in a bad spot. It went a little too far up. Trying to get that rear worked over, and we're actually going to bring the front across and hopefully let it come up the far side wall. It's doing it. It's doing it. The rear really needs to shift its ass over. Come on, car. It didn't shift over. So not the prettiest way to start a trail, is it? And this is why this obstacle is unconquered. Hi, Sydney. She's checking in on us. So like I say, I don't know how today's gonna go. I would really like to get to the end of this obstacle, but right now I can't even get past, you know, stage 2, which is the drop. I've attempted this a lot of times. I've spent hours on this location on multiple days, and so far I've ended up entirely unsuccessful. I've gotten very close a couple times, but I was hoping to make it happen today. On camera, no less. Just like last time, that rear end caught and saved us. Now we got our front end up, rear end working in. We gotta try something different on this drop. Let's try and float it in a little more. Stay on top of that ledge a little longer. Okay. Drop front end in right there. That looks good. I like where the rear is this time. And then just straighten just a little bit. I still want... Hey, I think we might have gotten the drop in for once. So this is important now. Now we don't want to ruin it after this point, right? We finally earned an entrance, which you definitely have to earn these entrances. This is not easy. I drive this car a lot. I drive rear steer a lot, and this is absolutely one of the most difficult lines that I know of in the area. Which has turned into like this personal challenge of mine, where I want to figure out how to do it. So we made it past the drop. We're coming across the easy part of the line, which is this flat crack. Just stay balanced. Now it's very important from here, like literally right here. We have to start setting ourselves up for this T slot in the crack. Why is this so difficult? Because this ledge right here, instead of just being a crack, there's this big breakaway area. And so our tire is only so big, and you have to force it all the way over there to where it will come in contact without dropping to the bottom, which means you end up way down low in the crack on this side. And it just makes everything super difficult. And if you manage to get the front through, every time I've gotten the front through, my rear pulls me in and eats the car alive. That's what happens. It ends up sideways and upside down with the rear just completely destroying it. So what do we got to do? My goal here is to get the front through like normal. And right here, my front tire is coming on the low side of just that little sandstone formation nub where that front driver tire is, right? This guy right here. I want to get the front end up, and it's ugly and hard to do. But once the rear hits this point, I'm actually going to try and drive the rear up and over that and float the rear end across this gap and see if we can get it to work. So here we are. This is time to commit. This is it. This is our first attempt today. But we can't get too wild. We got to watch ourselves on the way in. You know, we got to make it happen. And so there we go. We're setting ourselves up well. I can't go too far in because that front end will literally just fall off. And we've still got to hit the wall and make it force its way up. So here we go. The front tires are going to come up the wall. Front end's going to float, and the rear is actually going to get forced backwards because of the obstacle itself. Front end is up. Now it needs to rotate. And the goal is here, which our front end is actually really far over compared to how I've normally done this. Usually it comes right across the corner. And I want to keep my rear high over here. But right now it's looking like it's so high and the front end is so far on top of that ledge that once this front end unloads, it's going to roll us into this hole. So I don't know what I want to do. I know that I want to avoid getting that rear trapped in this corner, but the car has a forward weight bias, so it's going to flip forward at some point. So how do we get our front end out off this wall? Okay, we're on our door panel here. And I love this fusion, by the way, by how much I can creep it. Rear end's gonna come in contact. Just by changing the steering, I can rock the car. And that's kind of what we're doing here. All right. And this is the challenge of the obstacle. I felt really good about where we were, but the front end got pushed too far on top of that ledge. So we got to take a full reset. We got to make the drop, make the crack, get back in there, and hopefully our front end ends up in a different position this time. And I was feeling pretty good about it. The car felt balanced and whatnot. I'm liking where it was. Let's see if we can make it happen one more time. Sometimes that front end just doesn't want to turn through there like it just did. I'm glad it turned. See, and the rear can drop all the way down in there. That's fine. Because the fronts are up in the crack and the rears get dragged into the wall and it just forces it right up out of there. Okay, getting our second shot at this obstacle. This wall's curved just a little bit. Make sure our rear stays in line. Front end coming up and over the nub. Easy, easy, easy car. Come on. Stay in control. Don't want to let that front go too far in on the driver's side. So maybe we can turn a little sharper this time. Use our rears to point the car in the direction we want. Okay, we're in a very dangerous spot at this point. I gotta back up. It's unloading on me. Oh, it's unloading on me. Damn it. I think we've lost it. Our rear just keeps going forward. See, and this is the issue. You can drop all the way in like that, and this line's toast. We're not going anywhere now. See if I can reverse from here. Because my rear is too high on the wall is the issue. So try one more time. Rear's up in the air. Trying to drop it in the hole. Which is funny when I can't get it to drop. That's usually the funny part. So now I'm actually just gonna try and get it leveled out a little bit. There we go. Okay, got the drop. That's absolutely one of the hardest parts on this obstacle. Gotta get our front set up. Don't want to lose that rear right there. So maybe I can, oh God. Maybe I can use that rear pointed uphill a bit to try and take pressure off the front passenger. Uh-oh, rear went way too far in. Car is just sideways in here. I think we've lost it already, but let's try it. Full on inside of the sidewall hang gang. Once the rear falls in, we are done for. Rear axle is oververt, but we're hanging on. What the hell is going on here? Oh man. I guess we'll just hang gang it out. It's as funny as it is, it's making progress. Shout out to my buddy Thomas from Fab 801 who taught me the art of the hang gang. I mean, that rear is almost up and out of there. Try a backup. There's too much overdrive in the front. It's never gonna work. I can just hang dang my way out of this is basically what I could do. Hang on, I gotta get a picture of this for Instagram, guys. That ought to work. Add to my story. Front end seems like it's traveling a little too far downhill on its own, and I think it's gonna unload on us here in a second. This rear's got nowhere to come out of this, is the issue. I can just hang and slip and slide all I want. Maybe down at the very bottom, I guess. So if I get out of this in some miracle, this is not the line. Like, this is not what I want to do. I want it to appear somewhat more scaled than this. But if I can get this, hey, I'll take some kind of funny bonus line, I guess. Woo! Don't go too far, truck. That's not big. That's not good. That was wild, but not what I'm going for. Alright guys, I think we may have finally gotten to where I wanted to get the front to. I don't see a way to finesse crawl this. I'm gonna have to throttle out and hope it sticks. Otherwise it's gonna unload on me. I can get this rear to sink the car and bring the front end up, which it's not going to want to do. It's front biased. See, I've done this a lot of times. That rear falls in the hole and you're just done. Well guys, I swapped out wheels and tires, put fresh batteries and all that in it, grinded on it for a while, wasn't getting any results. So for some reason, the tiny difference between the wheels and tires on this just made that drop like impossible for me. And yeah, I think we're gonna go ahead and call it a day. What's funny is I've been declined on this over and over and over, and for some reason today, I just thought it was gonna be the day. And I'm a little disappointed after not making it, even though this is not the first time that's happened. So we're gonna keep grinding away at it in the future. Hopefully we make it happen sometime, but may need to require some dig unit, some real wild changes, maybe nothing at all, maybe just a better day of me driving. I greatly appreciate you guys watching all the way through this. If you did, big thumbs up to you, thank you very much. Hit the affiliate links down below, that's how you can support me here on the channel. I also have t-shirt designs out. I have all sorts of cool stuff, westdesertwheeler.com. We'll see you guys in the next one. Keep the rubber side down.